What is up, guys? Jordan from Bennetts Customs. We're back on another episode working on Black Sunrise. This video is really exciting and it's kind of hard to contain it because I'm speaking from the future because something's already happened. You can see we have a bit of assembly already on here. We have got this running for the first time in almost 2 decades from when we first pulled it out of the dusty garage with all that stuff all over it and rolled it on and dragged it all the way home. We just hit a major milestone and we broke the cam in. We did all the good stuff. So it's a pretty fun video. If you want to, watch through the video, there's a lot of important sort of key points that I go through, especially for like your hot rod or specifically, setting up a 28, 29 Roadster on 32 rails. A lot of kind of key points that we cover with the motor itself and internally and externally. There's probably a couple fun things throughout this video that are gonna make you laugh and kind of see how we just, adapted in that exact moment while trying to do all this. I'm not saying that this is the perfect way to break your motor in for your flat tappet cam. And we probably don't need all the motor experts to fill up the comments about stuff like that either. We just, we adapted with what we got. We run it in safely. It now runs and fires up and does everything it should. I think it'll be very fun and very entertaining to see what happens. And finally see this thing do this. It literally shakes. It's incredible. So, if you want to see this thing blow all the cobwebs and dusts out after 2 decades of being in rest, continue watching. All right, so obviously you've noticed that there's not a lot of components on the motor. It's because we had to pull all the front accessories off in order to get the front timing cover off. The front timing cover that was supplied with the motor, unfortunately wasn't the right one for what we needed. We were able to get a really cool adapter set up from Castlemaine that utilizes a Holden, Australian Holden, straight 6 or like a 1.8, I think they're like a 1.86, a blue motor they're called. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it uses their water pump. And the reason why they've designed that and manufactured this sort of little system is to get a lot more clearance. We actually gain like 1.25 inches, which is huge as far as, depth of where the pulley's gonna be. So if we had the regular shorty water pump for a 302 Windsor. They are a shorty, they are shorter, but it's still considerably longer overall than this setup. So this is gonna work really well for a tight area. We got a radiator, we have an electric fan. I would love to run a mechanical fan, but I don't think it's gonna work on this. And I really would like to run it as a puller, not a pusher. So whether or not we can actually do it, there should be enough room in there. It's gonna be tight, but we'll manage. But the reason why it's off is because when I was fitting everything and finalized it all, we had this all sealed, painted, it was looking really nice. The water jackets were, I'll call them water jackets, the ports for where the water comes in and out from the water pump were actually different. And I only noticed that because when we were fitting this, I had the gasket on there. And when I pulled this off, the gasket stayed on. And I noticed that the gasket was actually directly over top of those water ports. So if I had not have seen that, it would have been something very simply overlooked. We would have put everything together. We would have fired the car up for initial break-in, and it would have ultimately overheated because there was no area where the water, it was very restricted. Only a little amount of water would have been able to pass by or circulate through the water pump. The best thing is we have found the right timing cover that works with our water pump. It allows lots of water to pass through in the areas where it should. With the right gasket, everything can be bolted on. But before it can be bolted on, down here, there's an old repair on the motor, on the block, and it is right where it holds, right around where the water comes in and out. And there's what looks to be a broken stud in there, and then they've obviously tried to center punch and drill and tap a new hole, but it is really offset and it does not line up. So I have to rectify this issue. What I'm gonna do is actually just Loctite a bolt in there, cut it off flat, and then I'm going to mock the timing cover back onto place. I'm going to use a transfer punch, and I'm going to use a transfer punch to hopefully be able to punch another new setup where we can then drill and tap for the original placement of where that's supposed to go. Okay, so this might not be the correct way of doing it. It kind of is, it kind of isn't, but I'm just using a bit of red Loctite, which, Paul, if you're listening or watching this video, you're gonna curse my name because we should wait 24 hours for it to cure, but we do not have 24 hours. So I'm hoping this will work and it will sit in there and we can drill and tap it without that moving. And if it does, well, then he's not wrong. So now we got it in there. Now I have a little area where I can cut this off. So if you guys aren't familiar with transfer punches, these are an imperial set. They do make an a metric set as well. They just have like a little pin on them. So you basically find the desired size. This one's probably not the best size, but the next one up that does fit a little bit better is a bit tight inside. That could just be due to the casting. So we'll be able to work with that. It's not gonna, there's a bit of variance to work with this, so it's not super, crucial. But all they do is they have a little pin on this, and once you use like a center punch, so it's basically just gonna center the hole that you're trying to use. And you can get these in all different sizes. That's all we really need. So because we are drilling into basically between two high tensile bolts, I'm just making sure I'm taking my time, and I'm just using a little bit of grease to keep the swath from coming out and attaching, and it just keeps it cool.
Don't give me no fight. It's only one thing in the middle of the night I need. That's dreaming of you. Well, all my dreams are sweet. When I lay me down to sleep, I'm dreaming
All right, so when I originally made this generator bracket, this is a Power Master generator. It's essentially an alternator within a generator looking case. I personally feel like they look 1,000 times better than an alternator. Nothing worse than having a beautiful looking motor with an alternator hanging off the side, to be honest. But when I did this, we made it all, I had everything lined up, but I didn't take into consideration the gaskets that were gonna be between each piece. Those gaskets all, if you stack them all up, they're gonna add that, couple mil of distance. So what's happened is, whenever you're setting anything up, you obviously wanna make sure that your belts are square to each other. So a lot of the time I'll use like a straight edge, I'll go on the face, and then I will try and make sure that they line up. I also use like a degree finder, and I'll stick it on like that. I'll find what the degree is, and then I will do the same on the face of the pulley, making sure that they match. That is just so that everything runs true. You just don't want to have a crooked belt. It'll wear it really weird, which will obviously break eventually or slip. And the last thing you want to do is be on a road trip and skip a belt. So, especially when it's driving your water pump. So it is about 3 mil. So what I'm gonna do is just pack out. I don't think I essentially need to pack this out because it's actually kind of pulled back. It's more or less the actual base mount where it pivots off of that we've designed. So I just need to kick that forward with a couple of washers in behind. We got a couple of things just come in this morning for our fittings for the radiator. So we're gonna try and get that set up as well. And then we still gotta get the exhaust on. The exhaust is, again, gonna just be like a mock-up. So our spark plug wires, we're gonna just kind of have to keep them out of the way a little bit because they're not technically designed for the old headers that we're gonna put on there. So we're gonna get those on and then a couple more pieces, but yeah, we should be able to, you know, overall get everything on here to hopefully hear that key. All right, so we got the majority of the accessories now on. Generator is tight, belts on. Now we're at the process. Michael is here, that you're gonna be seeing him a fair bit of a familiar face. Michael is helping me kind of do this today. We have all hands on deck so that we can get it very close to being able to fire up. He's just cleaned up the original headers, and they are basically like a ceramic coated, you know, kind of custom header that was originally with this car. They have a blank off plate and then they just go down through an exhaust system that goes all the way out the back. We probably will use part of that into the muffler so we don't have to hear this thing wringing its neck off for 20 minutes while we break the cam in. Into the radiator, you guys have seen it before. We've explained what we have as far as an aluminum radiator. This is not your super expensive, you know, brass style. This is just a cheap aluminum one. We have had more success than bad luck with a cheaper aluminum radiator. So as long as you can see like the quality is decent, and obviously there's going to be, you know, the thickness is a good material for the aluminum, and you know, the welds are good. There's obviously no pinholes, no leaks. They've been pressure tested. Usually they come with like a little card that tells you. So that's a bonus. This one does have the fittings for the transmission lines as well, because we are running a C6 automatic transmission. But we could run those to a cooler. I haven't really decided what we're gonna do there. But this is a shorty style, so it's kind of like they call it a 2-inch chop. And usually when you're running a Model A body on a 32 frame, that kind of rule of thumb when running a 32 grill is sort of 2 inches off the bottom of the side. And then that should, you know, when it's sitting on a stock cross member, and I'm saying that because this one is pretty modified, so we're gonna have to make some brackets for it. But you just want, obviously, the flow of that hood to be, you know, natural. You don't want the grill, like, it's very crucial to have the grill placement perfect, because if you have it too high, it's gonna look like it's kind of sticking its nose up. If you have it too low, opposite, you know, you have big droopy nose on it. So the best thing is if you do have a stock Model A hood, you could put that on the side to get your cowl lines directly parallel, and then you could measure it out to make sure it works. Or if you're gonna make a custom hood, then it doesn't really matter, but you just wanna get that flow proper. I'm kind of building this so that, you know, with the intention of going across the Nullarbor next year and going to Rattle Trap. So we're gonna drive these cars from, you know, West Coast to East Coast, like literally coast to coast, and then drive down on the beach and then go racing. So we want to make this thing as simple as possible, especially with the fuse box, the wiring, everything's labeled. The fuses are very accessible. Everything's very simple so that if there was the event of, you know, some sort of breakdown, hopefully we can, you know, easily rectify the issue, jump back on the road and continue. I'm not crazy fussed on actually mounting the radiator, like doing all the custom bracketry. I just want to get it in the area of where it's going to sit so that I can make the pipes so that this can essentially kind of rest here. That way we can measure whether or not we can stick our electric fan inside so we can make it a puller, which I'm kind of hoping we could do, because if that happens, then we can make a nice custom shroud for it. I'm not a huge fan on electric fans on hot rods. I think they're a bit of a buzzkill, but you know, vitals are important. If it cools your radiator, which then cools your motor, you know, you got to do what you got to do. If you can run a mechanical fan, they definitely look a lot better. They seem to pull a lot more as well. I don't know, I personally feel they're a bit more efficient if they're set up properly with a shroud. Obviously, if you don't have a shroud, then they're not going to do too much. But there's nothing kind of, I don't know, just nothing worse than seeing the front of a nice 32 grill with that insert, and then behind it you got a modern, you know, a modern electric fan in there. So if anything, we're going to try and put it inside here. I may even just mount it now and just tape it into place on our cardboard. Again, crucial point, if you guys are fitting a radiator, pull that thing out of the box, measure the inside for your fins, go straight over to some cardboard, cut it and stick it on, because you do not want to do this. I've done it before. You go to rest it here, you go to reach for a tool, it falls into the water pump, you damage your fins, it's gonna look shit, as well as there's a chance of being able to damage the little cores in there. So tape some cardboard on there, then you don't have any issues. Get it all mounted, then you can just peel the tape off, pull the cardboard out, and it'll look perfect. So another thing, usually when you're running a Model A hood with a 32 grill, is you're gonna have to add a little bit. There's always sort of an extension that needs to be done. Sometimes if you're lucky and you can really tuck in stuff and you don't have a lot of accessories on the front of the motor, then you can get away with being able to kick that grill back a little bit and not having to stretch it. But usually in sort of the cases that I've done this before, I've always had to extend the hood and the hood sides roughly about 2 inches. So you know, kind of 2 inches down on the 32 grill and then 2 inches of extension. And that's just because, you know, we're running a 32 frame, and Model B was obviously a lot larger of a car. So longer frame rails than a traditional Model A frame rail. So shorter, a little bit longer now, so we're kind of trying to make everything work. Again, you don't really, unless you're running something cool like a front mounted supercharger, you don't really want to have that grill really far forward either, because then it's going to really elongate this area and it can start to look a little bit goofy. Again, it's all about proportions. I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm just trying to emphasize a few little, you know, a few little tips that I've kind of wish I learned maybe a little bit, you know, a little longer ago. But let's just have a bit of a look here. So that's going to have to come up to about there. If this guy. So if that was down. So if anything, it could probably come down. I kind of want that to run flat, actually. I like this line to either run like parallel with your frame rail or slightly level. Sometimes when they travel down, this one is kind of been a bit modified, so it kind of comes down and still travels. So we might actually have to slightly bring it down a little bit, which means I reckon I could just come down 1/4 inch plate that we have as a packer, and then we are bang on right where we want it. And then we'll just have to do some
dropping this down.
Yeah, I'll just drop down that 1/4 inch, and then I think we'll be golden. And then this is going to be modified anyway, so if I have to put like a a small wedge in there to just get the gapping right. We're gonna have to do a fair bit there anyway, so, and reshape the hood to fit the 32 grill. So if you use a tape measure, measure from your hood to your edge, then go down to the bottom of the cowl and measure to there, so that they always match. Even if you have like a little bit of a lean forward cowl, similar to kind of what we have on the Hemi Coupe. Oh, it's probably a bad example, but you just don't want to have the 32 grill or a grill too leaned back if it's not designed to be, and you don't want it too leaned forward if it's not designed to be. Again, it's just, you know, yeah, I'm making face expressions, but you get what I'm trying to say. You just want to make sure you nail the profile. Nail the profile. All right, so we've kind of spun the car around. We're just getting in preparation to, you know, fingers crossed, fire it up. So we just want to have the exhaust go out the door and not fill up the workshop. So we've kind of ticked off a few boxes off camera as well, and then I'll go over them and show you. But basically, Angus was here with me over the weekend, and we were able to obviously get everything adjusted. So we're back at TDC. We've just cycled the motor over. We ran a drive down through the distributor to obviously make sure that it was pumping oil up before the initial start. Because this motor has been completely, you know, rebuilt, we wanted to make sure that nothing was dry. It's been sitting for quite a while since then. So obviously we had the assembly lubrication on the majority of the parts, but we wanted to make sure that the oil was coming up. And successfully, it was pumping an amazing amount of oil up through the rockers and onto all the lifters. So all the lifters are adjusted as well. Everything is set where we want it. We have just kind of put in a base initial 10 degree of timing. And then once we start firing it up, we'll obviously have the timing light on there and be able to adjust it. We have the two carburetors on the front and back capped off. I just made those with a steel shim. And then it's gasketed, making sure that obviously we're gonna have no air leaks. We are running a fuel line through the regulator to our center one. So I am going to use the regulator. We are just going to use a little facet pump with two lines, and it's basically going to go straight into a jerry can. The power will go to a battery, and then we can kind of limit it through the regulator, making sure that we have you know, an even amount of pressure. I think these Holleys and Strombergs like about 2.5 to 3 psi. From memory, correct me if I'm wrong. So we just want to make sure we're getting that. We're not getting really any more. Up into the front, we have all the accessory drive on there. I've already fit the radiator. I went down to the shop. I asked to go into the back. I dusted all the dust off of an abundance of radiators that was there, and I just made some little wire kind of patterns, or a buck you could call it. And basically that was just, hey, we need a radiator that, or hose that would be roughly the same. Rather than trying to custom make some stainless stuff, which I still did, and having two ends with 4 clamps, it just sort of made sense. Like a radiator hose, I feel looks really nice if they're just simple and black. They're not, you know, taking your eye away from them. They're obviously efficient. They're doing their job. They're supposed to be there. Now, to tick off a few more lists along we go. The dipstick for the transmission has a crack in it. We found that out the hard way. We put some oil in it and stood here and then realized that there was brand new transmission fluid going all over the ground. So it's now drained out, the majority of it. So I need to take that dipstick tube off. We need to weld that up. That's going to be a fun one to do. Got to make sure it's really, really clean in order to do it, especially when you're TIG welding, it'll hate it. And then we will install the radiator, put some fluids in there, making sure we have no leaks, and then we're going to figure out the fuel system, and then we are basically bang on ready to kick this thing in the guts. So we have, yeah, not much time. I want to be able to get it done. So let's, yeah, I want you guys to see this thing run. We're gonna have to brake clean the absolute bit of this, but then yeah, we got to fill this crack. I've cleaned it as best as we can, wire wheeled it, brake cleaned it, methoed it. I even had a little bit of acetone in a jar and wiped a bit on it. So I'm going to be open-minded that it's probably gonna spit and sputter and blow back at me, but maybe I can just All right, well, we're ready, fingers crossed. We haven't quite kicked it in the guts yet, so you're gonna be experiencing what we experience all together as one. But everything's checked off. We've gone through, we had a couple of water leaks, rectified those. Everything has kind of gone over from front to back to front. Angus and I have just done everything we can. We got the fan set up. We got our little fuel pump running over here to a little Milwaukee battery because our big battery was dead. Straight into the jerry cans. We'll get, sufficient amount of fuel pressure. We're ready. So let's see what happens. Fingers crossed. Everyone, cross your fingers now. It's kind of a stressful time, also exciting / very nervous. But yeah, we're good to go. What do you think, Gus? Okay. Probably needs to be in park, eh? Oh, yeah. So park would be, is park back? It'll go the opposite way, right? So it'd be all the way back would be park.
Yeah, well, because you were in neutral before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's...
Okay. That's interesting. Oh, there's no fucking there's no drop shaft in it.
Oh, so it doesn't matter.
Nah. Just saw that. Moment of truth. Okay, we got gauges. And oh yeah, squirters are working. Beautiful. Oh, is there a push button? Nah. Oh, maybe that's start. That's headlights. It's off.
What's that button there?
Where? Oh, that is it. Okay, ready? Probably don't need choke, at all, I don't reckon. But reckon the timing's in? Kind of seemed a bit. Going again? Okay. Can't see shit. Seems that timing's out.
It's coming back to the car.
Okay. So timing. When we put the cap back on, did we sort of chase wires again?
Flying water.
Yeah.
In a different spot.
Okay. Do you want to give it some fuel pump action? So maybe the opposite way? Do you reckon?
Or is it out 180? Oh, can't be out 180.
Well, that sounds like it's out 180. How'd you go? Did you do it when the rocker covers were off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thought it would be.
Possibly could be 180 out. 180 out just means you're 180 degrees out from your timing, from TDC or top dead center. I'm personally the master of it, and I'll admit it. I think like any hot rod of mine that I've done, small block Chevy, small block Fords, I'm always really good at doing it. I still just never pick it up. I don't know. I always think I'm like, yep, I'm on, we're good to go. And then it never happens. But that's okay. We don't have fuel leaks. We don't have water leaks. We don't have oil leaks. So all the vitals are there. The carburetor is squirting properly, which is great because these carburetors have been sitting for a really long time. So I was a little bit uncertain as to what was going to happen there. But we also know we have spark. We know we have fuel going to it. It's doing everything it should. It's just the timing could be potentially out.
So it's kind of funny. Yeah.
That's it. I'm always so like, has to go back to TDC. Rotor's got to be facing at the post.
Number one.
And otherwise I'm lost. See what happens, everyone? Cross your fingers, cross your toes, cross your legs, cross your eyes. Does it smell fuely? Doesn't even really smell like it's getting any. Maybe it's a long ways for that intake to, nah, surely it'd pull through. Okay. Yeah, there's fuel coming out of, weeping out of places it shouldn't be weeping out of. Okay, ready? Keep an eye on, or Ben or one of yous. Just, yeah, just make sure nothing is arcing. Oh my God. Well, good thing that wasn't clamped down.
Straight up car, that.
That sounds.
Sparking from that thing straight to the coil.
What if it's sparking inside the actual manifold?
Spark from that.
That's sparking from there to there.
Yeah, I'll film it if you want. Do it.
Maybe another
Go and look.
bit more tape on there or something.
What if I just jam something in between it, like a bit of gasket? Oh, there we go. Now we got fuel. Okay, ready? Okay, that's the best we've got so far. What is causing that? Is that doing something it shouldn't be doing? It's getting spark.
Yeah.
But why would that be arcing?
So you should be able to put that.
Okay. Yeah, I was just gonna say. Okay, so
Warm, man, straight away. I was just talking about that.
you're gonna create a lot of black pressure, right?
Need to.
They're going to.
Oh yeah. So you need to run it up now?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think how we can get it to sit at 2 grand. It does have the thermostat in there as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get a tack and then it'll be nice and easy to set our RPM.
It'd be amazing. Well, it's got a tack output, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But whether or not it's...
Whether or not it might need to be cowed. But I mean, we can get 2 grand off here pretty easy.
All right, well, let's fucking kick it in the guts, I guess.
Larry.
Fire extinguisher's right there, just in case anything went terribly wrong. But better to say it out loud. Okay, good to go.
It'll be looking for fuel. So we might need to try, maybe we can try and get, bugger, no, stop. Maybe we can try and put that fuel line straight into the carb and just get it so that it's running up, so that we take the,
Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, I'll take that off for that. That also, that leak at the back is hosing when we're running. Where's it coming from?
up under here. It's wet just there, so it's on the underside of that gasket. I don't know how much tension's on these inlet bolts at the back, if they might be able to get pulled down a bit harder. Did you use any, yeah, underneath there, you can feel it's wet. If you touch your finger, you can see a whole heap of water on your finger now. Did you put any glue on the back of that? I know you
Yeah.
don't often on inlets, but...
Yeah. You know the back bit across there?
Yeah.
I never use the rubber seal. I always just do a ridge. Yeah, we'll just knit that down.
Bennetts Customs, full professionals. And fire extinguishers over there. We will plug the fan in. Water access. It does have water in it. We'll take water. I will grab water. If anyone looks at this, just keep an eye on the float level. Once it gets low, we'll run back up there and top it up. Sounds legit. And other than that,
Ready to go?
ready to go.
Like that. That's a very strange running condition, though. Something like this, why it fluctuates like that. I've just never ever heard one of these fluctuate like that. Only thing would be if it had like a leaking power valve or something like that, and so it's
Yeah, it almost does sound a
Storing
bit
additional-
vacuumy. Otherwise, I just leave them. Just fix the front wires.
if you stand in there when it does it, it sounds like it's coming out of the transmission.
Yeah.
Which it could be. There's a good chance it could be like something with the harmonic balancer. Touching something. Wonder how warm that transmission is. The front?
Oh, you mean
Like
ring gear?
ring gear, yeah. Like could just be like a weird vibration. I don't know. That sounds so weird. It sounds really tight.
It sounds tight. It sounds like something binding. Nice that it stopped doing it in there.
Yeah, do that again.
It was weird because it almost went away for a minute, eh?
Yeah, like I got well and truly past the RPM that it
Yeah.
normally expect to cut in.
Yeah.
But it does seem like quick, sharp revs is more inclined to bring it on than gradual RPM.
Yeah. What is internally in there that could cause, like, I want to feel like it's like the ring gap, like, is way too tight.
Like a ring dragon.
But there's no fucking way because it wouldn't run and idle the way it's
You
doing.
need to do it full time.
That is so bizarre.
It runs.
Runs, it sounds incredible. I cannot wait to hear it go. Like that.
Joey's on
Circles on the grass.
We just need to sort that train out and stop it on the tracks.
Clickety clack, clickety clack.
Yeah.
Potentially. Let's just leave it at that. Yeah.
One of the best.
Oh, you might have to. That was bearing related.
Something weird that comes and goes. That's the tricky.
I reckon it's a vibration thing, dude.
Yeah.
I reckon it's like. That's not normal.
Yeah, but I wouldn't go swap mine out. Run it with the belt off, so it doesn't happen.
All right, well, hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Bit of comedic relief as well as a major milestone was met. We've just kind of pushed it in, got everything disassembled, but it ran. It sounds amazing. Surprisingly, it sounds really good through these open headers. As soon as we took those baffles off, I kind of thought it wasn't really going to have much of a note or just sound sort of, I don't know, sometimes open headers doesn't always sound the best, but this sounds so cool. I was actually saying to Ben, you know, we should probably just keep this exhaust on it for a little while and obviously get the spark plug wires kind of where they need to be. But overall, super happy. Can't thank Michael Wallace, Angus, Matty. You know, they've all kind of really helped out in that kind of crucial sort of last 24 hours of getting it running. You know, a bit of learning definitely with early and later 302 Fords. The timing, didn't really know that there was a different timing, so that was really good to know. You know, and kind of moving forward from here, I think we need to address a few leaks. There's a water leak at the back from the intake, so that one needs to definitely be looked at. Obviously, the 3 Holley 94 carbs, we need to take them right apart. We're going to put 3 rebuild kits through them and then set up the linkage, whether or not we do a progressive linkage setup or just run them all kind of 3 at the same time and just obviously adjusting the jets and the power valves to the right ones. Other than that, we're going to drop the oil, obviously, redo that, just kind of overall go it all, you know, do what we need to do to kind of do a second glance over everything. Also, that noise that you guys heard that sounded very scary, the best part is that we've kind of put it down to the flex plate and torque converter area, which is really amazing because I was very nervous that it was something internally in the motor. but it looks like it could be the flex plate. Just from glance underneath, we took the cover off and you can kind of see. So that's huge. So that doesn't mean, you know, like we can basically remove the box really easily because we have no floor set up. So, you know, it was kind of a huge, yeah, it was like another one of those massive winds. We just heard it run, and then to hear that noise was like, holy shit, you know, this isn't what you want to necessarily hear after you've just fired it up. So yeah, super pumped. It was amazing to just, I don't know. It was just, I just wanted to hear this thing so much after all the work that we've done and for how long it's really been sitting for. You know, it was pretty cool and real special to hear. So the beer tonight's definitely going to taste pretty good after that one. And again, we're still cranking along. We've gotten a long ways since kind of starting this episode to where we are on that as well. So like, you know, we're fingers crossed that thing's going to be getting kicked in the guts as well. And, you know, maybe it'll be a little bit smoother process than this one was. We hope, fingers crossed. But other than that, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. It was super fun kind of getting back onto this guy. So, you know, we don't have much to do in order to get this thing like on the road running. So once we rectify a few of those issues on the motor, we get a fuel tank either made or purchased to be able to put in the back. We still need to do the brake pedal and master cylinder setup, as well as finishing off a bit of that floor in there. And then just a few other odds and ends, a couple brake lines that need to be done. I also want to just pull the third member out of that 9-inch in the rear and just make sure just to see what's going on. I'm not sure. It does seem like it's got either like a Detroit locker or some sort of posi in there, because when you go to turn it, it does do the, you know, the kind of the clunk. But other than that, we're really close. All the wiring is basically done, you know, and then we just have to figure out what we're going to do with the exhaust in the future. And if you guys have any kind of suggestions for the exhaust as well, whether or not we just make like a really neat sort of cast setup, or if you guys in the past have worked on a 302 Windsor and you wanted to keep the exhaust within the frame rails, definitely let us know what you guys kind of used for headers and that. Be mindful that if you are not in Australia, this is right-hand drive. So you have a motor mount, you have a starter and a steering box all on this one side. So it does make it kind of hard to put them, you know, say center down like a traditional shorty header would do. But yeah, anyways, hopefully you guys like that. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification button. We are 360,000 subs, I believe, somewhere close to there. You know, we're nearing that 500,000, which has been, it's going to be a crazy number to even reach and in when we do, you know. But yeah, again, it's all thanks to you guys for doing this as well. It's been very exciting and again, an amazing journey. And one more big one. Mom, Dad, I know you guys watch this all the time. I just want to wish you guys a happy 50th anniversary. Can't believe you guys have made that. That's a major milestone, 50 years. But yeah, congratulations. Love you lots, and we'll see you guys soon.